Banks Peninsula Community, oh, we've done you. Coastal Burwood.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Great to be here.
You can probably find
Good afternoon. Tim Sintis along, our Deputy Chair of the board there. But the presentations from the Community Board have been absolutely amazing. Fantastic, great teamwork. Community Boards are leading the way, so come on, Council. Yep. To do there when it comes to pictures.
I'm going to expect all the committees to follow suit.
Same. That's good to hear. We've got no Part A's to report in this report, so that's there. I'd like to highlight a few things here. Decisions made, as you can see on the report, just a couple of things I'll highlight. One is the Lake Terrace Horseshoe Lake Reserve. There was a car park there that's totally munted. Sorry, we haven't got a picture for you. You can hardly get into it, let alone get out of it. So we've met with staff and had a site meeting, and so we're given the go-ahead as a community board to put the car parking onto the other side where the old dog park used to be. There was also part of that resolution, there was staff had requested that a little footbridge be removed and sidetracked. So we've actually, as a board, decided that needed to go out to community consultation, that part of it, because these little assets are quite important to community, so we just want to make sure that we made the right decision on that little footbridge there. As part of that, another thing that we attended and got approval to go, Tim Sintis, David East, myself, was the coastal diverse coastal environment seminar, which was really good, or the free community one at night. And one of the speakers that they had there was Jim Darm, and we were actually really surprised and encouraged by him, because at one point they put a picture up. We've got a lot of dunes in that area, so it was really informative for us to be there. And one of the pictures they put up was of a house, and the sand dune had virtually a third of the house at the front had all disappeared, and you could hear the whole room go gasp. But he actually just said that's not a problem, and then he showed us the next few years and how they had worked with that and restored that. So it was really encouraging and very refreshing to see how they approached some solutions there. The other thing that I'd like to, the significant projects and initiatives that we have in New Brighton, the New Brighton regeneration, so Development Christchurch are now are underway with the design of the beach playground and the whale pool. As you can see there, that much loved whale pool, and they're aiming for the completion of that by the summer. And the community are really going to be involved in the concept designs. They already had a place-based workshop last week with some key stakeholders and the community, so that was really good. And so they are still able to provide feedback, and they will be getting things underway in the next couple of months. Really important to keep the community involved and informed on that. So alongside that, as you know, Development Christchurch are working on the implementation plan for the commercial core and incorporating the key elements of the New Brighton Master Plan. So a lot of work has been done, as you know, behind the scenes. We'd be sort of saying that it's a little bit like you look at the picture of an iceberg. The community are able to see the sort of tip of it, but there's a lot of work actually going on underneath the ground. So we do, as a community board, very much appreciate that and are very grateful. A progress update, the South Brighton jetty, last time we came that was on the agenda, so at the moment as we speak it is being deconstructed and reconstructed, and there's even going to be a little fancy floating plastic pontoon at the end of it which is going to rise and fall with the tide, and that's expected to be completed by July. Also a little bit of a progress update on the South Brighton boardwalk. It was mentioned last time that possibly the student army, volunteer army could get involved, but the council project team have been working really, really hard on this to keep the costs down and to meet the community expectations and their desires. And so we've had a wee bit of an update that they've indicated that there could be a possibility that it could be repaired. So I mean, we were expecting that report on the 1st of May, so it could become a really good outcome for the community. That one there. We have the regeneration Christchurch. Regeneration Christchurch have been, as you know, doing a huge amount of consultation in the community around the Otakara Avon River corridor, and so they've had engagement days, and the latest one that they had was a community day at Hiata Community College, and there was about 600 people that fed into that, so that was outstanding there. And this next issue there, as you can see up on the screen, South Shore, we put it in red and bold because just alerting the South Shore and South Brighton, but we had the South Shore Residents Association come and do a deputation to us on the 20th of March, and it's another significant community issue, and this community has been through so much with the lack of protection on the estuary edge, and you were sort of thinking that, you know, regardless of the circumstances they've been in, they've all gathered together and come up with a solution. Now that really is resilience as far as I'm concerned. This community has just been outstanding in their consultation. So they've put a proposal together, got on board OSL consultants, and they have come up with a proposal for the estuary edge there, and the South Shore Residents Association have put this report together, and they letterbox dropped the entire South Shore and with an explanation report and got feedback. They had 348 come back, and 343 of that were in favour of this actual report. They also door knocked those that hadn't come back. They were just making sure they covered everything. They had community meetings, and they also had a drop-in centre. And what they found, and what is unique about this proposal, is that it has catered for and has brought agreement across varying environmental desires, and that's really something that is a great outcome. It's community-led, so we listen to this at our community board and are totally wanting to support South Shore residents wherever we can, and so the board has called for staff to organise a workshop between Regenerate Christchurch, OSL consultants, this council staff and the South Shore Residents Association to see how we can help this community progress with this rather major issue, because they live with it on a daily basis. So really good to have them come and ask for our support there. Again, we are working on our board plan. We had a really good few hours last night working on that, so we're making progress there. Of course, significant matters of interest. We've got the annual plan, and of course, as you know, the hot saltwater pools are hot at the moment, and the community board and the community are very eager to see that the budget there confirmed in the annual plan. It was actually, both of them were really well attended. We were very glad. I think pizza really helped, so that was a good thing.
Pizza helped.
The other thing we've got here, bring to your attention, is the Q2 Park Management. We've got the Q2 Recreational Sports getting underway now, as you know, and so therefore the staff are preparing a draft framework for the development of a management plan around the rest of the Q2 site, which is really important, seeing we've had the sale and purchase agreement signed by the Ministry of Education. This will also obviously include the proposal for how the funds for the sale will be managed. So the board is going to have, the staff are going to come back to the board, and we're going to have a workshop on that and go from there. It's very important to see the whole picture. The other thing that's important to us is the development of the civil defence emergency plans. Now that we have the review of the tsunami evacuation, that was an important document for us to have to help feed into what we do. So we're going to meet with civil defence with that and other information that we have, and start that process in the next coming weeks. Community events, well, of course, as you know, we've had a huge amount. I said them all last time. The Polyfest one was absolutely outstanding. Several thousand competitors were in there, as you can see up the top. It was outstanding. We also had the Surf Life Saving Nationals down our area, and on the next one, you can see there. Should have put your name on it, Aaron, because apparently you didn't want to be on the surfboard last time. You want to actually be in the surf canoe, so you're actually on that picture. And that was a really good event, so just fantastic to see, you know, the area buzzing, and also unfortunately for the Ray White Surf Festival, the weather wasn't so good, but the atmosphere and the event actually made up for the weather, so that wasn't a problem. The only thing that, a casualty of that, was the youth jam event, which was a shame that couldn't go ahead because of the weather, so that was a shame. The next picture that we have here, we have the tiny huts. Now look at that. Isn't that a romantic spot? Who wouldn't want to go and visit that? So, I'd like to see you there.
I proposed to my wife on that. Yeah.
Did you now?
That's how romantic it is.
Yeah, that's right. Could be. That'd be something that could be.
We can.
Could be offered. Yeah, so so what we've got that up there for. What we've got that up there for is that the community have been asked by council as to what they wanted to have done with the 5 tiny huts, and the community spoke and said they'd like them to remain. So that was very exciting for us there. So there's another 4 dotted around New Brighton, which you can come and visit and climb and touch and do all sorts of things with. The other thing, we've got a few pictures up here. The other few things we've got on just down the bottom there is this weekend the Bridge Building Community Trust there that you very generously donated your $325,000 to had an amazing painting day on the side of the building. So that's not the actual picture, but it's very much like that. So it's that, as they said on their website, Facebook page, they're saying putting some more love into the bridge building. So it's being really well looked after and really appreciated there. We also have the Ray White Easter Carnival coming up this weekend, and Easter Bunny's going to be there, so why wouldn't you want to be there? And they're going to have an Easter egg hunt. Great to see these things. And also at the market, Seaside Market, because we have that every Saturday, come down and have a look, 10 till 2, and there's going to be a bubble day. Yep, got some bubbles up there, so that's going to be a lot of fun for the kids there. And we also have the bus tour. Now we keep postponing that because we want to create more momentum and anticipation. So we would love to see you there on the 22nd of May. So, and I think that's us. Thank you.
Excellent. So I presume that Councillor Easter and Councillor Livingston would like to move and second it. Are there any questions? Yanni?
Kiwi too, you just talked about a management plan. Mm-hmm. Is there a spatial plan that's been developed as well so that we can see how everything can fit in place?
That's a really good question, and I would have to ask that of possibly John. Yeah, thank you. I don't know the answer. Sorry, Yanni.
John?
Yes, it will include that.
Cool. And when are we likely to see that?
This will be discussed with the board, and the board will agree a time frame, and we'll meet that. So it's really board-led.
As soon as possible.
So as soon as you've received that report, we'll find it coming through in this report. I mean, I made the comment to someone else that it's really good to have these reporting processes because it just brings us up to speed.
Absolutely.
On what's going on. So that's great, John.
Thank you,
Good news. Phil?
Thanks very much, Kim. Can I you mentioned the different projects along South Shore in New Brighton. So, and it's really great they're being done. The area which was red zone, and I understand Regeneration Christchurch you're attending to, is that work that they're doing all being joined up with the other work that's being done by our council and you people are involved?
Great question, thank you. I'm going to hand over to Tim to answer that.
Well, thanks, Phil. Yes, Bill Simpson from the Chairman of the Resident Association and myself are working with Regenerate, and we've discussed plans that we've had shown to us by Gary Tier from OSAL. So we are actually at the moment working with them.
Thanks, Tim. We've been one coastline. There's clearly the different processes will impact.
Yeah, there's a big help having Regenerate, but obviously urgency is always the big question. So, but they're doing what they have to do. So, see what happens.
Well, I think the regeneration process offers great opportunities for actually engaging the community, and it sounds like a lot of the engagements already happen, and that'll help feed into the process. So I think it's a great model.
Yeah, no, agreed. It's very good. It's our best hope.
Yep. Good. Glenn.
Thank you. And I think there's a sense in which that the regeneration, as far as the use of the red zone, is already happening. So the formal planning may be yet to be put in place, but there's a sense in which the whole area is kind of being bid, if you like. So we've had 2 big events on the corner of Loxley, New Brighton Road, and with the stop bank work, the temporary work underway at the moment, there's going to be a temporary cycle public way on top. So that's already underway.
Yeah.
I did actually forget to say, sorry, I had written down here that the board have actually called for a workshop with Regen, ourselves, council staff, and Gary Tier. So did I say that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I'm suggesting that you would add the Ihutai trust to that, so that you make sure you've got a real flavour of the ambition for Ramsar status in the estuary, and also the estuary edge master plan. because it's got to work with that. It looks fine to me, but I'm not an expert, and David.
Thank you. Look, I'd just like to add my commendation to the work that the South Shore community have done in progressing their own plan on how they feel the estuary edge down there should evolve, and I believe the cooperation going forward with Regenerate will bring a great outcome there. It's been quite interesting in our community, the amount of community participation or intention of participation in a number of projects, particularly the likes of the boardwalk restoration, where we've had a lot of community interest in being involved. The Student Army have expressed an interest in being involved. And Kim touched on the sand dune restoration conference that was held in New Brighton recently with the coastal engineer Jim Darm, who's done a lot of work in the Coromandel. And the message that came out from him very clear, he'd done a lot of restorative work up there, but the underlying message was that you had to take the community with you when you were working on these projects, and so many of them had come to fruition with great result because a plan had been evolved, that involved the community, not only in the discussion about how it may eventuate, but at the end part of it there were a lot of works that would be undertaken, particularly plantings, and having the community buy in the first place led to a great community participation in the end part of the process, which then meant that the community actually owned the project and it gained a lot more traction. So looking forward to a lot of that sort of engagement and cooperation in some of the projects that need to be undertaken in the South Shore, South New Brighton area.
Very good. I did actually wonder myself whether part of the good attendance at your engagements around the annual plan hadn't just been sparked off by pizza, but by perhaps a misunderstanding about the consultation on the hot salt water pools. I read Facebook pages from time to time, and there was certainly a view that came through from a small group of people that somehow this was revisiting a decision that had already been made. The decision we'd made was to put $5 million on the budget, but that's not enough to build the hot salt water pools. We hoped that we could bring in sponsorship, external support, partnership, private sector, and it hasn't happened. But in order to make New Brighton the destination that it has to be at the end of that journey from the city to the sea, it requires investment. So that's what we're consulting on. We're obliged to. Actually, we want to. I presented on the West recently, and I said I want you to support what we want to do in the East, and we have to get community support for that. So I don't want people to be angry or frustrated or anything like this. This is an opportunity that I believe is a gift of the earthquakes, and we've got to take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Leanne. Yeah.
Anyway, I shall put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Great work. And